Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 4, Chapter 9, Yanthram and Manthram. Man has immense capacities latent in him, waiting to be tapped and used. He has many talents which he has to bring to light. He feels the urge to love all beings, to share his joys and griefs with his kind, to know more and satisfy the curiosity of his intellect, to peep behind the awe and wonder that nature arouses in him. He is able to gather information about all kinds of things from all corners of the world, but he is unaware of what happens in the corners of his own mind. He knows who is among all the rest, but he does not know the answer to the simple question, who am I? The fact is, he has to ask it himself and seek out the clue to the enigma himself. He has not felt that it is essential to know the answer. He is content to move about blindly in the world, groping his way in the dark. Without knowing who he is himself, he is rashly judging, labeling, and even libeling other men. This is the fundamental reason for the hollowness of human life today, and for the hate and fear that stalk the world. The Vedas and Shastras of India have the key to that answer. They can teach you the process by which you can discover it for yourself if you are so inclined. There are only 26 letters in the English alphabet, yet by combining them in various ways, thousands of books are written. So too, the ideas and hints given in the Vedas may be a few. Their application explains the entire literature of Akshara, which means both letter and indestructible. Every person born in Bharat must be an exemplar of these disciplines, for Bha means splendor, Prakasham, the splendor that is encased in man, and Rati implies the desire to manifest it, to taste it. Live up to that glory, and you will all be transformed into fullness. The Divine Principle. You are the formless, Nirakaram. Come in the form of man, Narakaram. The infinite, come in the role of the finite. The formless infinite appearing as the formful infinitesimal. The absolute pretending to be the relative, the Atma behaving as the body, the metaphysical masquerading as the merely physical. The universal Atma, self, is the basis of all being. The sky was there before houses were built under it. It penetrated and pervaded them for some time. Then the houses crumbled and became heaps and mounds, but the sky was not affected at all. So too, the Atma pervades the body and subsists even when the body is reduced to dust. The same inexplicable, invisible electric current, when it enters a bulb, a fan, a stove, a cooler, or a sprayer, activates each one of them or all of them together. Similarly, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, the divine principle, activates all beings. That is the inner core, the divine spark, more minute than the minutest, more magnificent than the most magnificent. To observe the minute, you must use a microscope. To bring the remote nearer your ear, you seek the help of a telescope. These are yantras, material instruments, the instruments that help you to visualize the core that has such strange contradictory attributes, are called mantras, formula that save you when you meditate on them. They are also called tantras, ceremonies and rites, when their practical application has to be emphasized. Faith in the efficacy of these mantras and in the utility of the procedure prescribed, as well as in the existence of the core, are all essential for success in the great adventure. Just as faith in the efficacy of the yantra, in the correctness of the procedure, and in the existence of the material he is seeking to know more about are essential for the scientist. The liberation from night. You must tackle this problem straight from where it starts. Ignorance can be cured only by knowledge. Darkness can be destroyed only by light. No amount of argument or threat or persuasion can compel darkness to move away. A flash, that is enough, it is gone. Prepare for that flash of illumination. The light is there already in you. But since it is heavily overladen by repressing factors, it cannot reveal itself. The liberation from night, which happens when the light is revealed, is called moksha. Everyone has to achieve it, whether he is striving for it now or not. It is the inevitable end to the struggle, the goal to which all are proceeding. But please do not be afraid of reaching the goal of liberation, moksha. Do not conceive that stage as a calamity. It is the end of calamity. It is death to all grief, the birth of joy, a joy that knows no decline, the death of grief, grief that will never more be born. Well, how do you prepare yourself for the stage? I must tell you that the answer is in that very word, moksha, itself. It is self-explanatory. More indicates moha, delusion, being deluded by the scintillating, the gaudy, the transitory, the temporary trash. And ksha, meaning shaya, decline, disappearance, destruction. It requires you to keep the flights of your mind away from these deluding attractions and on the straight path toward liberation. Avoid illusion by denying it. See how the insufferable heat of the sun is controlled and modulated and reduced by your body mechanism to the congenial temperature of 98.4 degrees. So, you too should keep the destructive force of your elemental passions born out of the clamor of sabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, rigorously in check and bring it down to tolerable levels, yielding comfort and congenial living. You yourselves create the illusion of which you are the slave. Deny it. Don't give it a chance to lord over you. Then it will not harm you. Someone was told, "There, inside that well lies your shadow." He said, "No, it cannot be." But he decided nevertheless to go and verify the fact. He walked up to the well and peeped in, and lo, he found it was true. The well had his shadow inside. Poor fellow, he did not know that the shadow would be there only when he looked in. Do not test Maya. Try to locate it. It will present itself. You can avoid it only by denying it. You can escape only by concentrating on the substance. Do not attach any value to the shadow, whether inside the well or outside it, for after all, it's just a shadow. Illusion haunts man as karma or trishna, desire. Desire calls for Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, the qualities of the five elements of which man is the complex. Sabda of Akasha, space, Sparsha of Vayu, air, Rupa of Agni, fire, Rasa of Jala, water, and Gandha of the earth. Man is prompted by the elements of space in him to seek sweet sounds that satisfy the ear, by the elements of air in him to run after smooth and soft things that yield pleasure to the skin, by the element of fire in him to pursue things that by beauty of form appeal to the eye, the water element in him to crave for food and drink that are tasty to the tongue, and by the inner urge of the element of earth in him to cater to the nose by trying to enjoy perfume and fragrance and pleasant smells. Kama, desire, has a two-headed son, Krodha by name, the twin-headed monster anger greed. Through the malignant designs of these three, you are robbed of lasting happiness. Be the prince you really are. Unaware of your divine status, you revel in low company. You toil and sweat as the slave of mean passions which drag you into disgrace. Be the prince you really are. Be like the lotus which, though born in the slush at the bottom of the lake, by sheer willpower rises above the water to see the sun and be inspired by its rays. The lotus discards contact with water, though it is born and bred in that element. So, you too should avoid being attached to the elemental passions that the elements constituting you urge you into. How long are you to sit content with the minor role of a clown or a clout? Are you not ashamed? Have you no ambition? Why smother your genuine talents under a self-imposed mask? All these are zero roles. Take on the role of the hero, which is your right, and shine. I shall tell you how to deserve that role, how to earn it from the Sutradhara, the director of this play. Enter on a course of spiritual discipline. Your experience itself will tell you the validity, the value of that course. Install a radio receiver. Select the wavelength of the station you propose to listen to. Switch on correctly to that wavelength, and you hear the program clear and distinct. Your ear will tell you the accuracy with which you have tuned. Similarly, take on a form of mantra, mantra swarupam. Pronounce it and meditate on it with accurate care and steady attention. Tune in to the voice of within you. One of the obstacles in the way of the spiritual aspirant is the satire and criticism poured on him by quacks that crowd around him. Do not pay heed to their advice or their barbs. They are experts only in the silly, short-lived trivialities of social life for sensual pleasure. Most people nowadays are more interested in the history of film stars than in the history of yogis and paramahamsas, ascetics of the highest order, who can save you from the disaster of deep-seated ignorance. Three-stranded rope of Yama. Yama, or the god of death, is described as dragging his victims to his abode by means of the rope of pasa, snare. Well, he has no rope factory there for supplying him with the rope he needs. You manufacture the rope yourself and have it ready round your neck. He has only to take hold of the rope and pull you along. It is a three-stranded rope, the strands being ahamkara, vishyavasana, and kama. Egoism, sense attachment, and desire. Do not respect men who are caught up in the tangle of the senses. Give respect according to the knowledge each possesses of himself, that is, of the immanent and the transient. How do you fix the price of cane? According to the sugar content, is it not? You evaluate oranges in proportion to the juice they contain, is it not? So too, a man is worthy of honor in proportion to the knowledge of the self he has acquired. This knowledge alone can confer steadiness and strength. Without it, all profession of renunciation, all pretense of devotion, all performance of charity are but tongue deep or skin deep. It is not the resolution that matters, it is resoluteness. Resolution is just a string of words. You may know the 700 slokas of the Bhagavad Gita by heart. But believe me, the time you spent in learning it by rote and in reciting it is all a waste if you do not resolutely act upon even a single shloka. Why? That learning might even be handicap, for the skill has affected your head and made it swell with pride. Dharma will never play false. Bhagavad Gita is a means by which you can get immersed in your own Bhagavat Bhava, relationship with God. If you are so immersed, you will have undiminished, undiminishable Anandam, Nityanandam, eternal bliss. Now, in your ignorance, you feel small, you feel miserable, you feel that the wicked, the greedy, the cruel are all happier than you and justifiably so. You feel it is unjust that you, who are so truthful, so loving, so good, should suffer. Just ponder over this. Are they as happy as you imagine? And is your condition so bad as you picture? Just investigate and you will find out for yourself. They are only painted pots of poison. The paint of honey is just a thin coating, a mere show. Their hearts know no peace. They are as miserable as you, if not more. Believe that dharma or moral rectitude will never play false. It will ensure greater joy than can be gained through all other means. Rama destroyed Ravana. It was a victory of one head over 10. Concentration over distraction. Ravana craved for Prakirti, Sita, discarding the Purusha, spirit, which gave it values and meaning. That is, Rama. If you crave for Prakriti, the objective world, you degrade yourself, you deny your reality, and you join Ravana's brood. Do not also imagine that the Lord is outside Prakriti, or even of you, who are really a part of the objective world. He is in you, behind you, beside you, before you. He is the eye of your eye. I spelled E by E. The eye of your eye. Here I is spelled as letter I. Yearn for the yoga or union with Him through the unwavering awareness of His being the real you. Yearn for yoga, and whatever bhoga, pleasure you really need will be offered to you in due course. If on the other hand you yearn for bhoga itself, you are gone. You are blessed only with the toga disease. Remember, Live in the consuming conviction that you are the Atman. That is the hard core of the eternal teaching. The Atma it is that sees through the eyes, hears through the ears, handles through the fingers, moves through the feet. That is the basic you. That you is not elated by praise or deflated by blame. When someone carps at you, reason out thus within yourself. Is he casting aspersions on my body? Well, why should I be worried? He is doing just what I should myself do, casting out the attachment to the flesh to the paltry prison. Or is he throwing them at the Atma? Nothing can affect its pursuit or tarnish its glory. So remain calm and unperturbed. You may ask, what happens then to the strings of abuse? Like the letter sent by post and refused by the addressee, it returns to the sender. I enjoin you to go home and ruminate over these suggestions and ideas. Reflect upon what you have heard, especially from these who convey to you the gems contained in the ancient scriptures, tested on the touchstone of experience all along the centuries. Sanatana Dharma recommends the threefold course of listening, recapitulating, concentrating. Listening makes you learned only. Concentrated meditation on the meaning of the thing heard gives you the fruit of the teaching as intended by the teacher. Venkatagiri, 19th February 1964.